a 20-year-long war, an ancient evil, and a mind-controlling plant. Let's talk about Wings of Fire. Wings of Fire is an adventure dragon series marketed from 3rd to 7th graders. There are 15 books total in the series, plus 2 prequel Legends books. The main 15 books are broken into 3 book arcs, with each arc having a different set of main characters and a different problem to solve. Our first arc focuses on ending a 20-year-long war of the Sandwing succession. A prophecy comes to light that 5 dragonettes will stop the war. We follow these 5 dragonettes as they travel from kingdom to kingdom, trying to decide who to trust and who should be the next queen. Our 5 dragonettes of destiny are fiercely loyal to each other and willing to sacrifice themselves and protect one another. Their motivation for ending the war is clear. They want to save lives, and they stick to that conviction even when others mock them for being too naive. There is most certainly an air of callousness toward human life, or dragon life. Many don't care that dragons are dying. There aren't a lot of good guys to root for in the series besides our 5 main characters. Even the good guys are abusive, threaten to kill our protagonists and replace them. Deception is a common theme throughout the book as well. Spies have infiltrated every single group, and the dragonettes struggle with whom to trust. This arc is definitely the most violent in the series, with most of the graphical descriptions being concentrated in the first 2 books. Dragons have their skulls crushed, heads are displayed on a castle. One dragon has her throat slit and bubbling blood gushes out of her mouth. Several dragons use flesh-melting venom against their enemies. We also see characters put in impossible situations. For example, the dragonettes are imprisoned in a gladiator-style kill or be killed arena. Several of them do engage in combat and do kill other dragons even though they don't want to. The book arc does end, however, with the war coming to an end and our 5 dragonettes deciding to open a school, hoping that if the clans learn more about each other, they'll be less likely to go to war with each other, which brings us to our second arc, the Jade Mountain Academy prophecy. The students are the main characters in this arc, starting with Moonwatcher, a Nightwing who can read minds and can see the future sporadically. While she's at the school, she begins to hear someone talking back to her, able to read her mind as well. She discovers there is an ancient dragon trapped under the mountain, and he begs her to release him. This arc goes all in on the magic. We have spells and counter spells. Many of our main characters and our villain are magic users who use their magic in duels against each other and trying to outsmart each other. A theme that we see in this arc is magic versus free will. With magic, you can make someone fall in love with you. You can make them forget who they are, give them a brand new identity. Our villain is definitely an interesting character. His goal is to create a perfect world for dragons. So what makes him villainous? He is willing to use magic to override free will whenever dragons are uncooperative. He also, like Moon, can see the future, so if he can foresee that the Ice Wings are going to cause a catastrophic war, he just uses magic to genocide them. No problem! There's no more war coming! Yay for me! Perfect world! I did like how this book arc ended. They came up with a very creative solution to deal with our villain, and it stayed within the rules of magic. Our final book arc takes place on a totally new continent with 3 new dragon tribes. There is an evil arising who wants to be emperor over all dragons and humans, and is using a mind-controlling plant to gain dominance. How should we respond to tribal or clan injustices? Should we seek revenge? And it is not as simple as dividing people into oppressed and oppressors, as we see one of the oppressed tribes did something horrible to their oppressors first. The final solution to this problem is stopping the evil, but still being empathetic and making sure that justice is served to the individual, not to the whole group. This arc, we see same-sex romance introduced. 2 of our main characters have 2 mothers. One of our heroines has a longtime girlfriend, and we see 2 boyfriends snuggling, cuddling, and flirting with each other in a hammock. We also meet a non-binary character who doesn't identify as a boy or a girl and uses them, they pronouns. Religion is also added in this ray. We meet 2 religions, both of which revolve around something abnormal, but is definitely not divine. Now, as far as the whole series, there is no explicit language in the series. However, there are some made-up expressions throughout. By the moons, what the hives, great ice spirits are used. Gosh and suck show up as well, and a human is described as cursing. There also is a strange underlying current of questionable parentage, absent fathers who have no idea that their children exist. We also have at least 3 of our characters whose fathers basically act as sperm donors. Broken relationships are the norm, and we have very few examples of a married father and mother. Sutherlands is a master when it comes to characterization. Each one of her characters is deep. Another strength in the series is her vivid descriptions and metaphors. A weakness, however, is her storyline or the plot. Several plot elements feel contrived, simply put there because the plot needed them to be there, like breaking magic in the 3rd arc. The only reason that came about is because if the characters had magic, they could solve the book problem in, 5 minutes. We also have helpful humans and magical devices showing up at convenient times. Sutherlands also has a bad habit of telling us one value, however, she shows or illustrates the very opposite. The best example of this is Clay in our first book. In his litter, Clay was the first egg to hatch and tried to kill the other dragons. Clay, however, does not want to be a murderous monster, and he decides he will be kind and caring no matter what his nature is. However, Clay ends up finding out that he was not trying to kill the other eggs in his litter, he was trying to help them hatch. So he is not actually a murderous monster. He's been a caring dragon this entire time. While it is a relief to know that our beloved Clay is not murderous, it underlines the message of choosing your own identity despite your nature. When it comes to gender roles, there seems to be no distinction between the male and female characters. Both serve in the army and both make up every profession. However, when it comes to ruling the tribes, only queens are allowed to rule. Often the royal brothers become generals in the military. If a niece or daughter of the queen wants the throne, she has to challenge the current queen in a fight to the death challenge. A daughter challenges her mother and the two engage in combat, and the mother ends up killing her own daughter. However, we do learn in the 3rd arc that the queen can surrender the throne peacefully. Thank you for watching Wings of Fire Book Ray. If you would like a more detailed report on each one of these arcs, you can find the book rays on my website, RebeccaKBrasby.com. Make sure to sign up and subscribe so you don't miss a single book ray.